Yesterday, I cruised to the beats of the sun. It was around 10 a.m. The sun was low in front and to the left of me as I was driving out of my neighborhood. It's a long straight road with a very hardly noticeable incline for about a mile. There are tall pine trees on both sides of the road. The pines here have thin, tall, straight trunks, and most of the limbs are up at the very top of the trees. And as I first started into the stretch of the road, I noticed that the sunlight was very focused, but began to break apart. Not slowly, not softly, but quick flashes. Bright, dark, over and over and over. And it was getting more intense as I went faster and faster. What I was experiencing could simply be called flicker. I'll get more into flicker in a moment, but first, you're probably wondering who I am. Hi, I'm Doug. On this channel, I share what I've learned and what I'm learning about light and how light influences our lives. I'm a stronger writer than a shoot from the hip talker, and I don't want to memorize lines like an actor or read from a teleprompter, so I read and research on topics of light and write about it, and then read what I've written out loud here. I write carefully and thoughtfully so my interpretations of the subject of light are relatable and meaningful to you. Okay. You could say light was flickering through the trees, but actually the trees never moved, and neither did the sun. It really wasn't the light flickering through the trees, it was me flickering through the trees. The more scientific name for this kind of flicker is intermittent occlusion. Intermittent occlusion means a steady source of light is being blocked and revealed again and again by objects passing between you and it, or you passing objects between you and it. So that was me passing trees between me and the sun. In my case, I was passing tall, thin trees between me and the bright sun at a very fast rate. The light, the sun, stayed constant. Some days I probably wouldn't even thought about it, but this time I focused on it and I noticed that because the forest is so dense and the trees in nature's way are evenly spread apart, typically that's what happens when they grow and nobody cuts them and everything, in a thick forest, they're almost kind of like evenly spread apart. This light, dark flash of light, because of the spacing and everything, it was rhythmic. I probably noticed it more because there was no music on or talk radio. There was nothing competing with this rhythm of the light. This rhythm at this stretch of road would only happen or at this intensity on bright sunny mornings when the sun was low, not too low and not too high. Because if it were around noon, let's say, then the sun would be high and drop light straight down and not through the trees. And if it were very early in the morning and the sunlight would be so low that the light wouldn't be able to go sideways through the entire forest to get to me. So I thought of something else at first. When I wanted it to stop, and before I started focusing on the sensation and the feeling of the rhythm of light, I thought, sunglasses wouldn't have changed it. They would dim the brightness, but not the timing. The quick pattern of light on and off would still be there because this really wasn't intensity of light, it was timing. I'd be awake for 4 hours. I had been awake for 4 hours already. I had had coffee. I wasn't tired. I was alert, but I was calm. And I noticed this rhythm of light had kind of put me in a trance. And I felt like time had kind of stopped. That kind of took me as a surprise. Most days I would have been distracted by something else. But once I noticed it, I realized why it was happening. And I didn't fight it. My mind didn't wander. I just felt like I was a part of the sensation. The rhythm. The flashes of light and dark weren't random, they were even and were predictable beats. My brain didn't have to solve anything or worry about anything. It just followed this pattern. This flickering or intermittent occlusion, whether you notice consciously or unconsciously, how that registers with the brain and processed by our visual system is all part of something called temporal contrast. It's how our eyes and brain tracks changes over time, not brightness, not color, but rhythm. Humans are very sensitive to rhythm and light, not because of technology, but because of history. Moving through trees, walking past tall grass, sunlight on water, firelight through branches. For all of our existence, light has never been steady. Light came through things, around things, between things. That rhythm does something subtle. It doesn't wake you up, it settles you. And even more so when your brain knows how long it will last. And in this case, I knew it too. On this 1 mile stretch of road, when I really started feeling comfortable with it, enjoying me flickering through the light, I knew I still had a few minutes left of it. When the road finally opened up and the trees thinned out, the pattern, the rhythm, it disappeared. Just normal daylight again. But my feeling of calm stayed with me for a bit. And I kind of gave myself a personal pat on the back for accepting the invitation to notice how the world of light changed and that I showed up to the moment. And in a way, I felt like I participated in the moment.